side of this, and then there's this other person's experience, and how are they paralleling, and how are they not matching? But the thing that I thought about the movie and the book 12 Years a Slave, and the experience of a person speaking with someone and saying, I actually can read, I actually do write, I actually am from New York State. Would you please take my information to New York? And having a person who said, sure I will, and the next day gave it to the slave master, and this guy had to leave for about a month, and then he finally said, well, I gotta come back. So he came back, and then to take the risk again to speak with someone, and it just so happened that someone was Canadian, where the context of the understanding around enslavement was entirely different. And he said, I am taking a risk telling you this because I don't know what you're going to do with that. And so I think of this whole notion about entertainment and storytelling, both as a means to pass on information while simultaneously looking to see, are you going to respond to this in a way that's going to get me in trouble? Or going to cause me more problems? Or are you going to respond to this as if I'm being authentic, and then maybe I can tell you something else because maybe you passed the test? And I don't know where that fits in here, but it certainly feels like a piece of the dynamic that might go on with
my association of movies is darker, which is Get Out.
Right, yes.
People are dangerous.
Yes, yeah.
And there's an awareness of that.
Yeah.
Well, when you asked the question, I was thinking that would take an enormous amount of research, interview time. My research is 5 interviews. Typically between an hour and 15 minutes and a half an hour. So what's that, 8 hours? And that's almost not enough time to build the level of trust that we would need to get to discussing what you just said.
Let me take issue with that. Just because I like to argue. That's what my mother used to say 2 things about me. One is, he's slow but sure. I know I'm slow. And the other is, he'd argue with the Post.
That's good Oklahoma stuff, though.
That's my upbringing right there.
What's your argument? I want to hear it.
I just forgot what I was going to say. I did forget.
Time.
Oh,
because I only have 8 hours, and I don't know that I have enough trust to bring that up.
My experience that contradicts what you're describing is these are little bits of discourse, of interchange that can happen early on. And if the stage can be set early on, is that to let you know that I'm aware of myself and I'm aware of you being aware of me, and this is complicated. If that can get on the table somehow in a way that's understandable, it can just be there. It doesn't mean a whole development of an intimate, trusting relationship, because you're not going to get that anyway. You're going to get some of it, but all I'm arguing for is putting that kind of process, the awareness that it's going on. I'm white, you're black, we're checking each other out, you're checking me out, let me know. Just that kind of energy.
Yeah, I think the idea that we're checking each other out is probably something I should
And that's ongoing, so let's just keep that in mind as we talk.
Right.
Where do we teach this to students?
Teach what?
To recognize the what men may need in order to disclose and embrace these concepts that you're talking about?
Well, for me, because I've been doing it for an awfully long time, for me, from a feminist point of view, we have to stop blaming them. We have to start saying, okay, tell me your story. Tell me what happened to you. Tell me what it was like. Do you have any memories when you were 3 or 4 years old, 6 or 7? What was your family like? What was your community relationships? And you can see as they tell their stories where a lot of their beliefs come in. You can almost track how at 19 you're going to grab somebody who's 13 off the street, rape her. These beliefs about what it means to be a man, and rape was his solution to dealing with his existential angst.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to take that from my social justice course. But I also think about this through this from the standpoint of two issues. First of all, there's always more to the story. There's the stuff that people say, and then there's the stuff underneath the story. For me, and one of the positions I take in class is, okay, you may think you know what's going on, but I want you to ask another question underneath that.
Right.
And work on getting out of your way.
That's right. Good.
Literally getting out of your way, not of theirs. If you let them, they'll tell you. Okay.
If you let them,
If you let them,
you.
they'll tell you.
Say that. If you let them, they will
If you
tell you.
let them, they'll tell
Keep
you.
your effing mouth shut.
Right. Just be quiet. Hush up.
Yeah.
But
He
I
says
also-
it nicer, hush up.
But I think there's this other piece here that begs the notion of how boys are taught to express anything.
Right.
And when I think about the price that men pay for expressing emotion, except in certain arenas,
Right.
and that notion of what hypermasculinity means, so much so that if you're not hypermasculine, you must be a girl, quotes, or you must be a, you name it, gay, whatever. I'm like, wait a minute, I know a lot of gay men who are super hypermasculine.
I stay out of their way.
But I think there's this construction that happens, and when we, particularly in social work circles, at some levels, I think we get caught in the notion that, and I think at some levels, feminist theory tells us what happens through one lens, but it doesn't necessarily address the lens that men come at this from, and so the question becomes, how do we also bring that information into the classroom setting so that people can resonate? Because it's really easy to talk bad about men.
It is.
Really easy in social work circles to talk bad about men. Okay, what's not easy is to talk about what men go through.
Right.
And particularly being an African American male speaking in a school of social work that is predominantly feminist, that is predominantly female driven, which is great. I love this. It's been my profession. What I find sometimes is there's this need for trying to understand how it is that men actually come to the perspectives that we come to. And when someone gets out of my way, I can actually tell you, this is how I was raised. These are the things that happened. Here's how I came to these perspectives. I wish some of them were better, but they're not. But this is who I am, and I'm not really sure if that's bad. Actually, I kind of like it. And that's, sometimes that can get me in a lot of trouble. But since I'm the instructor, I get to say these things. People go,
Well, you know, I'm glad you kind of like it, because I think the principle under that is I would trust that you don't act in ways that hurt people.
I work really hard at that.
That's the bottom line.
Yes.
To me, if your beliefs and if your socialization leads you to hurt people,
Right.
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yes.
But if they don't, if they promote well-being,
Sure.
or if they're neutral,
Right. And I
So?
also want to add that I think it depends on hurt in which context.
right,
Because there's some levels of hurt that, and I'm just going to speak from the perspective of Black Lives Matter when I keep looking at who gets hurt and under what circumstances. And in the last 6 weeks, there haven't been 2 days where we haven't seen some other African American, male or female, get hurt by a police state.
right.
And so, is that sanctioned violence? And I have my friends saying, well, if they didn't do this, well, no, if they weren't black, this wouldn't be happening.
That's right.
And
It's sanctioned violence.
that's sanctioned.
It is.
And at some levels, that level of sanction, then you want to know why black people are angry? Well, of course we're angry. Why would you not be angry if this were happening to you? To only have people say, well, I don't know if I understand that. Why are you so angry? Well, I'm angry because it keeps happening. And then people will say, well, is this new? My response is, no, you just get to see it now. It's actually on film. And that's, for me, that's been the entire issue around candor. Why would I tell you if you don't believe me? And so when you said that, you actually care about me? Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
How does that happen? That's what I mean by it's such a gift to actually have someone come from the position of, I really care about you, this is why I'm asking you this question. That's
Because it's so
not.
rare,
Yes.
it's not yet trusted. Back to your question about in the class, how do you teach it? One of the things that I've been aware of with both predominantly black and predominantly white students is that the men are peripheral. They often have to ally with each other or have to be I wouldn't call it hyper masculine in social work, but they get active in certain ways. In a defensive
That was my
posture.
experience.
And so that they're kind of pushed aside in social work classes all the time.
Men's perspectives.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. By looks, by, the group response to size and eye
The
roll.
students and the professors are both.
Both.
Students or professors are both.
Both.
Certainly students.
Right.
Or if it's predominantly students, it's not managed well by professors.
Right.
So it becomes a real challenge to figure out how to incorporate.
I'm so appreciative of having this conversation. Thank you. This was
Thank you.
Great, thank
illuminating
you.
for me.
Thanks for having us do
Thank
this.
you.
Yeah, no, it's really important.